Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Perth, Western Australia, Australia's mining capital and proud host city of the 23rd Africa Down Under Conference. From humble beginnings in 2003, Africa Down Under has grown into the most important Australian African business forum. Over those 23 years, Africa Down Under has welcomed 150 African ministers, 12 Australian ministers, delegations from 40 African countries, and tens of thousands of delegates from Australia, Africa, and around the world. Our delegates have gathered to hear hundreds of Australian African mining success stories from every corner of the continent, in every commodity, from traditional metals, gold, copper, and iron ore, to emerging critical minerals such as lithium, rare earths, and niobium. Africa Down Under has been fundamental in promoting stronger relations between our two continents and mining economies. The forum continues to play a crucial role in highlighting the potential for Australian mining investment to create economic opportunities for the people of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, to open Africa Down Under 2025, please welcome Paydirt Media Executive Chairman and Conference Founder Bill Repard to the stage.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, and a very warm welcome to Perth, Australia's mining capital. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we are meeting on today. I'd also like to acknowledge the other custodians, traditional custodians across this vast land that is called Australia. So again, a warm welcome on behalf of my colleagues from Paydirt and Gold Mining Journal to everyone here today but particularly those who've travelled long distances and spent many hours on aeroplanes to be here. More than 20 years ago, when we hosted our first Africa Down Under, or ADU, as it is often affectionately termed, our first objective was to shine a light, particularly on the opportunities that were abounded for companies, investors, in the exploration and development of mining projects across the African continent. We particularly want to mystify the notion that looking for investment opportunities and exploration potential was too hard, and that raising capital for African projects was almost impossible. There's some fact to that in that there were some Australian managed companies that needed to go offshore to raise the money to go forward. The other part was that Africa was not one country, instead a vast continent of opportunity with every known mineral and commodity on Earth ripe for exploration and exploitation. Since its inception, ADU has been about people. And this means bringing people, the different group and stakeholders together, mainly to do business, to get to know each other, but for mutual gain and benefit. This year is no different, and we're delighted to welcome and play host to delegations from 14 African countries and more than 150 sponsors and exhibitors. It's also very pleasing to note that the attendance at this year's ADU, which is in fact our 23rd edition, has soared back to pre-COVID numbers and pre-COVID times. And it's also exciting to see quite a number of new companies coming to ADU for the first time to take a look and to start building the process of relations. But anyway, more than 2 decades on, there's still a lot of work to be done. And we're confident that we can move the process forward in the next 3 days. We're particularly proud of the relationship that has developed between Australia and the countries in the African continent. And it is, in fact, the largest and best attended business meeting between Australia and Africa. Looking at the program ahead for the next 3 days, we'll hear from government reps, company leaders, and technical and financial experts. We'll hear success stories from explorers and producers and some of the most exciting projects on the market today. There'll also be a smorgasbord during ADU in the program that you'll see, a number of panel sessions on the main stage, and we certainly encourage people to participate, ask questions, and make comments. All of this, of course, would not be possible without the support of our sponsors and exhibitors, and where we thank all participating companies and organisations for investing in ADU. The support of government and governments, both African and Australian, is also much appreciated. We enjoy a strong friendship and association with the Government of Western Australia, who are happy to welcome visiting delegations to their offices to share research and regulatory requirements and legislation. Likewise with the Australian Federal Government and the network of embassies and high commissions across Africa, headed by some senior members of DFAT. From an African perspective, we enjoy good and close ties with the African ambassadors based in Canberra. We had earlier invited the Honourable Senator Penny Wong, the Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs, to join us this morning. Sadly, Senator Wong is unable to be here in Perth today due to federal parliamentary commitments. However, the Minister was very keen to send a message to today's opening, and I'd like to show that now.
Hello, and thank you to everyone taking part in Africa Down Under 2025. And I'm really sorry I can't be with you today. But I'm very glad that the government will be represented by my fantastic colleague, the Minister for Small Business, International Development and Multicultural Affairs, Dr. Anne Ali. I'll start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the Perth area region, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and offering my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. For more than 20 years, Africa Down Under has provided the opportunity for Australia to connect with our African partners from the far side of the Indian Ocean. And with those connections comes opportunities to deepen our areas of cooperation. Our two continents enjoy a growing trade and investment relationship with around $60 billion in investments from Australian companies, a symbol of our long-term commitment to the region, but also a recognition of the role Africa plays today and will continue to play in the future, particularly as the world continues to move towards net zero. We understand the critical role the resources sector will play in supporting that transition. But beyond our geostrategic alignment, the strength of our bond comes through our people. Around 500,000 Australians were born in Africa and many others have African roots. This community is an integral part of our multicultural, social and economic fabric, and I know it forms the bedrock on which we are continuing to build our relationship in the years ahead. Australia remains committed with the African Union to elevating the place of African nations in our global community. In a time when our global system is in a state of great flux, we continue to believe that African nations should have greater representation on the United Nations Security Council, and we will continue to advocate for a greater role for African nations as we work to solve the big challenges of our time. So thank you all for coming to Perth today. I wish you all the best for a successful conference. Thank you.